Hey everyone, it's E. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be drawing one of the main characters from the novel I'm working on. This character's name is Jayla. She is about 15 years old and is a African-American young lady. She's really cool. She's based on some people that I've known in my life. She is super academically gifted. She is into cheerleading and dance. She's a natural leader at school. She's the class president. She's super smart, the class valedictorian. She kind of has it all and is this super confident young lady. And but of course, it's not that she's totally perfect. She has her faults and her flaws. But the thing is about her that is essential to know for the sake of the story is that she's a total skeptic. She does not believe in God. She doesn't believe in Bigfoot. She doesn't believe in Santa Claus. She's just not a believer. And so this book will kind of trace her journey to not necessarily come to faith or necessarily believe in something, but just to explore the possibility of belief. And the reason that that's kind of a big theme for this book is because it is kind of about kids who are out looking for Bigfoot in the backdrop of a Christian summer camp. So she herself is not a Christian, but her friend has convinced her to go so they can look for Bigfoot. And I think it's kind of a fun and funny story. I'm writing it right now. It's not finished yet, but I just thought I would give you guys out there some advice on maybe how to make your novels a reality. So I'm not going to give you any tips in this video on how to make your writing any better. I'm going to make a part 2 of this where I draw my other protagonist, and I'll discuss some of the things that I've learned in my past writing attempts versus this one that I'm feeling a little bit more confident about. So that I can give those tips to you. And I'm going to try not to use the basic tips that everybody gives, but to give something more from my experience in writing. But to actually get your story on the page is kind of step 1. It doesn't really matter how good or bad your writing is if you never actually write. So here's how to get your ideas onto the page. And step 1 for me is to do a rough outline of the story. This does not have to be super fleshed out or detailed, and you don't have to do like bullet points or like an actual correct outline formatting. But the purpose of this is that it will keep you on track so you always know approximately where your story is going. And if you have to take a long break at some point, you will always have your outline to refer back to so you'll know where you are and where you're going. And you don't have to always stick with your outline 100%. In the moment you're writing, you may decide to deviate from it a little bit or spend more or less time in a scene than you originally intended, and that's okay. This is just meant to guide you and keep you on the path to completing your story. My second tip is to not worry so much about whether or not your writing is good. You can always come back and edit your story and refine it later. Just focus on writing. It's always better for your ideas to be on the page than trapped in your head forever. It can be a little intimidating because your story is always going to be better in your head than it is in real life. But when other people get your story and they start reading it, no one will know that it's not what you originally intended or it's not living up to your own expectations. So just write it. It's always better to write than not write. My third tip is to set a goal and a deadline. I don't recommend a goal like, I want to finish my book by the end of the year. I recommend saying, I want to have written 50,000 words in the next month or the next 2 months. My fourth tip is to write on a regular basis. I would say to try to write at least 500 words every day, and if you skip a day, don't let it become 2 days. If you need to lower your word count goal for the day because you're tired or something, that's okay. And if you skip a day altogether, that's all right. But if you are trying to stay on your schedule and meet your deadline, try to make it up the next day or over the next several days. And my fifth tip, I guess, would be to write for at least 30 minutes at a time, but not more than 2 hours. The reason being, 30 minutes should help you stay productive and keep the story fresh on your mind. And you should be able to get into a pretty decent groove in 30 minutes. I mean, of course, that may depend on your writing, your typing speed, and stuff like that. But if you write for more than 2 hours, you're probably going to get burnt out and start to get a little bit sloppy. And like I said, it doesn't matter if it's good in the first pass, but it can be discouraging if you know that what you're writing is like really sloppy. So I would say 30 minutes to 2 hours per writing session. Number 6, for kind of a fun tip, is to compete with yourself. There is writing tools you can use, there's this website called Write or Die, or you can set a word count goal, and if you stop typing for a period of time, then it makes a scary alarm sound, and it helps keep you motivated. You can also just use a timer, like set a 15-minute timer and see how many words you can write in 15 minutes, and then set another 15-minute timer and see if you can beat that. If you've got other people around who are also writing, you can compete with them in the word sprints. And of course, it doesn't really matter who wins or loses, because at the end of the 15 minutes or however long you set your timer for, you will have written more words for your story, and that's all that really matters. And my last tip is to get into a community if you can. NaNoWriMo is a good community, and NaNoWriMo is short for National Novel Writing Month. NaNoWriMo typically takes place in November each year, but NaNoWriMo also offers camps during the summer. And this is not anything you have to pay for, to be clear. This is just a free website you can use. They operate off of donations, and you can set your word count goals on there and strive toward that. Camp NaNoWriMo is a little bit less formal than NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo is just straight up write 50,000 words in a month. But Camp NaNoWriMo, you can set your goal to be whatever you want. So you can set your goal to be 20,000 words for the month, or you can even set your goal to be write for an hour a day or something like that. It's less formal, and it's just so you can accomplish your writing goal, maybe finish up with something else you worked on or whatever. But I find staying in community helpful, whether it's NaNoWriMo or something else. It's always good to stay in community because it can help you stay motivated and to stay on top of your goals, and you'll have other people pushing you to do better. And I know for me, I've almost always met my goals when I set them. I'm just very committed. I feel like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to try my very best to do it. And I know I feel a little bit disappointed when the others around me don't meet their goals. I mean, it doesn't really hurt me personally, but I just really want to see others succeed. So I do push others to reach their goals. And so I try to be helpful to others, and I know it's helpful to me to know that there are other people out there cheering for me to make my goals. Right now, that person is just my husband. I'm not really in any writing groups right now, but he really wants me to finish this novel and see this one through to the end. I've written other novels in the past besides this one, but I didn't really like them, so I didn't go back and work on them anymore. But this one, which I'm working on right now, I can already say I feel a lot more passionately about it, and I actually feel like I like the story, I like the idea, I like the characters, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in an upcoming video, how to make a book that you like, and writing tips to make your writing maybe a little bit spicier. With that said, I do want to say a quick apology. I know I only have like 5 subscribers right now, and 2 of those subscribers are me and my husband's other channels, but I want to say sorry. I haven't uploaded a video in over a week, which is really not what I wanted for this channel. I wanted to be able to upload at least 1 video per week, but I started back at a job this week, and I just haven't been motivated when I get home, so I need to work on that myself. But I will say I'm proud that I have been motivated, even though not to make videos when I get home from work, but to write and stay on top of my novel. I also want to say something about this piece really quick. I really like the way it turned out. I feel like I captured her personality, and this is basically the way I describe her in the book, as having an Afro puff hairstyle, and this bathing suit which she's wearing is, I wouldn't say it's like a super essential moment in the plot, but it is part of the story that she gets this specific bathing suit to go wear to camp. And the only issue with this drawing is you could probably see that like these markers are so dry, and I really struggled to get them to actually give me consistent color And so I tried to revive them with alcohol, which you can see just barely off the edge of the screen there, but it didn't, I don't know how well it really worked. And her skin tone, I always imagined to be a little bit darker than that. But I just didn't really have an adequate marker to give her the proper skin tone. So I would say maybe one shade darker or two. Like, she's definitely more like a medium brown skin tone. And this is more lighter skin than I would necessarily imagine her being. But anyway, I still think that the drawing turned out really cute, and I hope you all enjoy it too, and wish me luck as I continue to write my novel. Bye-bye.